Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and this is probably my final update on the state of the Reusable space program. So, the disk that it was contained the game, or the saves, was a Mushkin 128 gigabyte SSD, and in fact, it was one that had been replaced under a warranty. It failed after 3 months, and so this was a replacement, and this has now really just gone terrible. It seems to have been corrupted somehow. It has a partition table, but it doesn't have a reusable directory structure in any format. You can actually see that it does have a boot sector here. It has the disk error warning. That's what happens when you try to boot off of this disk because there's no OS. Then it has some data. This is a hex editor that's viewing an image that I dumped read-only in the hope that I could rescue something from it. You can see, where is it? Yeah, you can see, like, here's a ship file here, ion-powered space probe. Unfortunately, we probably have that already. And this looks like it might be a complete file, but then if you look further down, this here is some other spacecraft, and you can see that it starts mid-string and it ends mid-string. So some files are complete, some files are not. The thing about SSDs is because of the way SSDs work. If you write to a sector on an SSD, right, a solid state disk, there's a chance that it will ruin the disk forever. So they write to it and then they immediately read from it just to verify that the write took. And if it didn't, that sector's marked bad. And what they also do is they randomly remap the disk all the time so that you're not hitting the same parts of the disk repeatedly, right? This is something called wear levelings to make sure that you don't wear down the same parts of the disk repeatedly. And this means that if the data that maps these sectors, the wear leveling arrays, or whatever, if those get messed up, then you can be left with a disk that is essentially in completely random order. However, not to be put off, I did bring up Test Disk, which can scan through the disk and look for sections of data that are contiguous. It goes, finds things one sector after another, which have, say, text. And I'm looking for text because that is, of course, what the save files are made from. If I look at these are all ones that I've searched for Sleipnir. As you know, that is the name of my big, primary spacecraft, the one that was heading to Joule. And you can see, unfortunately, this one just contains save states, whatever. It doesn't contain save state. This one contains a partial save file, but yeah, it does contain part of the vessel here. Whoa. Right here, you can see it. As a Sleipnir, it tells us it's orbiting. You can tell that it's orbiting the sun, which is a sign that we might have it on its final trajectory, right? So that may actually be the final. We may be able to get something out of this. We have a pod here. We have the bearing, and if we look down, we have undock vessel, docked vessels. What I'm looking for is another vessel structure. Because if we find that next, then we would have a complete version of Sleipnir, and we could perhaps reuse it, but we don't. So we don't have any vessels following this. The Sleipnir just finishes. So I don't have any way to reconstruct the rest of this spacecraft from this. A lot of these, if you look down, none of these is big enough to be a complete save file. I have actually recovered save files. There's this one here, which unfortunately is from an older version. So I believe the one that I uploaded to Mediafire may be the definitive one. So maybe I could take that, and presuming that there hasn't been any huge changes, perhaps I can use the orbit that I have for Sleipnir. I'm really not sure. But if anybody has any other suggestions, I'm open. Serious suggestions only, because, I'm not a numpty here. Anyway, if you were interested, that's the status. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.